So, in this moment, what I want you to do is to see that for being yourself, you should not be hated, disrespected, belittled, or wanting to present yourself in a certain way. You should always accept yourself as you are. You're not trying to change yourself, you're trying to transform what is limiting, what is not in vibrational alignment in accordance with who you are. So it doesn't mean that you're trying to make yourself be totally different. It just means that you're shape shifting and morphing into the person that you're supposed to be, that you're changing the dynamic of how you flow within reality. That's all it really is at the end of the day. And if you can see it in that way, that you don't have to try to heal, try to change your belief systems, try, instead just do it, act on it, and become it. And then you'll see slowly but surely that everything will automatically change around you. If you don't want your bliss disturbed, don't have your bliss disturbed. If you want to be within your own space of energy, be within your own space of energy. That doesn't mean that you should be hated. And just because you weren't there yet doesn't mean that you won't get there. It just means you're not there yet. So there's something within all of us that wants real life change in the creation that we are. And so we're not regimented by the things that we don't want to connect to. We're only regimented by the things that we choose to tolerate. And once you stop tolerating anything, once you fully embrace your free will and you see that you become a free agent, a way shower, a way maker, that you can open up doors whenever you want to, that any timeline can change at any given moment, and you make that choice and that decision to go into that timeline, and then you see the civilization fall apart, and then you build it back up again. To accept this cosmological law of free will, you see that you're a free energetic being that gets to choose to decide what is best for itself at any given moment in time. Within that shocking realization that you can part the sea, that you can open up something that is beyond your scope and lens of understanding within that moment. And then you see that by changing that dynamic, by changing who you are, by changing how you not only feel, but the connection that you want to bring and reinforce within that connection. And it's the ability to move mountains along your journey, along your way. You don't have to feel like you're trying to be something that you are not, because you can accept your imperfections, you can accept your delusions, you can accept your limiting beliefs, you can do all of that and still be in a debilitating state. But then you realize that when you morph into really who you want to be in that moment, that nothing changes that. Nothing is gained by doing that. And then you will automatically do the things that are absolutely necessary within your journey to be connected all the time. And then you see that everything in your reality was just trying to get you to really act upon not having to meditate to find God, that you find God in every situation, and that it's not separate. There's a non-dual nature of who you are, and then there's an ability to not give into that nihilism, to not give into that sense of that I'm not worthy, that everything is what it is and I can't change it, and that no matter what you do, everything dramatically can shift into who you want to be. It just means that you just, whatever you choose to not tolerate in that moment can change in a given instant. So it's like the instance that you choose to change and that you choose to not promote something that you're overdressing as an insecurity that you're bringing under the rug, then life will dramatically change for you. And everything in your reality was trying to bring you down, was trying to limit you, was trying to like deceive you in that moment. You see that every reflection that you ever had in your life progression, that we overdress things with love when it's always based by a condition, not based by an unconditional love of the free entity, of the free being. We don't, we always place labels and conditioning and all of these things, and all of it is not real. And once we see through that, we don't have to live with it. We don't have to live in the space of energy that we don't want to be a part of, but we can actually live the life that is of our choosing in that moment, and that you don't have to belittle yourself, that you can be free to do as you choose to see what fits in your reality. So in that moment, you can do that. And it doesn't matter that people can place illusions all around you and can place all of these things in front of you, directly in front of you, and say all these things and do all these things. But in the midst of all that, you are the illusion itself. You are the illusion that can change at any given moment. That you can be the imagineer of your dream reality of your life in this moment, and that nothing can change that. And it doesn't matter what anybody else says, it just matters how you feel in that moment. But it's not just feeling, but it's the intuitive nature. It is the pure channel that comes through as a way of honing in the skill of bliss. That bliss can be forever, that there can be a contrast between heaven and hell, and that you can experience that hell for just a moment, but then you can come back. You can come directly back to who you want to be, to who you are, and that it doesn't change whatever is going on in your reality. And once we stop promoting the sense that we can't do that, the sense that we can't fully give in and fully align to who we want to be, and that our calling is the most important thing in that moment, and that we can see it clearly for what it is, and that that is always going to be what's most important, is your purpose and your calling and the things that you do, because it changes the world. And that you had to experience this dark period at the very beginning to really see the light. And no matter what has happened in your past, and no matter how many mistakes they made, no matter how many choices that you made, there is always salvation for your mistakes, for your addiction, for the things that you performed in other lifetimes and in this lifetime. But you have a clean slate. And if nobody tells you that, they're coming from a judgmental sense of self. They're coming from judgment. They're coming from nihilism. They're coming from a sense of non ownership. And once we own who we really are and tap into that power solely and never negate it and really virtually practice the art of not caring, you'll see that everything in your reality will change around you, and it'll have no other choice but to change, because you're actually going for what you want and not what you're trying to self sabotage. You're going to actually go for what you want. And it's never going to feel like a limiting belief. It's never going to feel like you are trying to be something that you're not. You're trying to be someone else, because you are someone else when you awaken. You are someone else. You get a clean slate. You get a do-over. You get to live a different life. And anybody that tells you that you can't do that are coming from the basis, the cosmological basis that free will exists. You have the willingness to be free, the will to do it. But if there's no peace and freedom, you can have all different kinds of things go right in your reality, but then there's something missing. And then you try to fix that. And then there's something missing here, and you try to put the puzzle piece there. And then there's always something that's missing. But then once everything is crystal clear about what you want, about what you desire, of what you want to connect to, then nothing can separate you from that. And then the condition base, the relationship we feel like we have with God is not a relationship. It is the power of being in agreement, in accordance with who you are. The power of agreement means that you agree to be God in this moment. That's it. Everything else is just trying to tell you how to dress, how to be, product placement, that you're fat, that you're too skinny. Fuck all that shit. Once you say that I am all that I am connected, I am the oracle of love, light, and wisdom, and I choose to be that alone, then all of your worries and your limiting beliefs and all the things that you don't have just go away. And then you can live purely as you are, not as everybody else feels that you should be. Because everybody will tell you how to live, how to be, that you're a bad person, that you're this, that this is delusional, that I should not listen to this truth because then it will make me face my fears. But then once you see that everything was trying to manipulate you, everything was trying to put you in a box and make you feel small, to make you feel as a pessimist, and then you stop, and then you empower, and you're more confident, and you're more crystal clear, and you're more open to who you are, then you realize all that stuff was bullshit. All of it was bullshit, because now you know yourself. You've snapped out of the delusion you plugged yourself in, and you want to live under the banner of heaven, and nobody wants to live under the banner of heaven because they want to always experience pain. I'm not saying that you won't experience pain. I'm just saying that you don't have to do it all the time. You don't have to hurt yourself. You don't have to kill yourself. You already died so that Christ could be born again. You died for sins. You were nailed on the cross already. That's why Jesus Christ did that, so that we were able to ascend in the spirit, so that we can come from man, woman to Christ consciousness again. That's why that happened. But everybody is always like judgment and lust and all these things. It's really just you wanting to live as God sees. God created the earth and the world in 7 days, the 7 densities, the 7 ways, the 7th seal of creation being opened up. It's just you morphing into what you were meant to be in that next universe state. You were always meant to be that, but you had to be deluded. You had to incarnate here. You had to forget everything again, and then base everything in coincidence, that there's no synchronicity. Signs, miracles, synchronicities are always apparent. You can't escape it. And once the path chooses you, you can never stray from the path, because it has been given to you, and you are delivered from the upheavals and the struggles and the strife of this world. You were delivered from all that and born again. You died to be born again.